Now that LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga has been out for a significant amount of time, I thought it's time that we re-rank every single Star Wars game that I've played. That's right, every single one that I've played that I can think of. There's a lot on here, a lot more than I thought there was going to be, and we're going to have to rank all of them in this video. If you're excited for this, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing will let me know that you want to see more content just like this. Also, just before we start, keep in mind that this is just my opinion based off my experience. I know so many people are going to disagree with this. This is just my personal feeling, and unless I say otherwise, I'm not taking a crap on any of these games. Trust me, there's a lot of good ones on here. I just have to rank them for this video. Now, without any further ado, let's get started. Now, this is one of the questionable ones that I was talking about from the beginning. Fortnite. Okay, I do not like Fortnite. I think it's too cartoony. I don't know. I don't really like the look of it. It feels very oversaturated. I just don't like battle royales in general. Fortnite's just not for me. I understand there's a lot of people out there that do like Fortnite, and I'm just not one of them. I don't really see the appeal for it. Now, Star Wars Bounty Hunter, I actually did a couple streams on this game, and this is a tricky one. I think that the story in the game would be like an A tier, but the gameplay really kind of lets it down. It auto locks onto all of the enemies. There's no mini map. The aiming is kind of wonky when you do have to manually aim. I don't know. It just made it really difficult and tedious to play, especially without the mini map, because it's just so hard to like figure out where you need to go in this game. So I'm gonna put it in C tier for now. It probably will stay near the top of C tier, but I can move it into B tier if I feel like it. LEGO Star Wars 3: The Clone Wars. I love this game. I'm sure many of you who've watched the video before will know that this was my favorite LEGO game, and it still holds up. It's such a great game. I love the ground battles, the huge ground battles. Those were the highlight of that game. I love the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars is my favorite Star Wars property. So naturally, this would be an S tier game for me. Now, this is the LEGO Yoda Chronicles app. Now, I know this is one of those kind of questionable ones. Why did you put this one on here, Asteroid? I just remember playing it a lot as a kid, and it's a Star Wars game. And I thought it'd be really cool to get like every single Star Wars game that I've played on this list, and not just like the AAA ones. So I decided to put these lesser known ones on here. It's mid, I don't know. Like, it's not a terrible game as far as mobile games go, but it really doesn't compare to most of the other games on this list. There's a lot better ones on here. Next up, we have the Clone Wars dueling game. I have this on the Wii. I'm not even sure what the actual title of this game is, but it's basically like lightsaber battles on the screen in real life with like a Wii controller. I mean, I remember it being kind of fun. I didn't really play it too often. It kind of got repetitive really quickly. It's all right. I can't speak on it too much. I just remember having some fun with it and then not really playing it again. And then we have the 2015 Star Wars Battlefront. Okay, Star Wars Battlefront was a great game when it came out. It was super popular for Star Wars fans, and I know it had a lot of criticism. Trust me, I'm going to get into those in a second. But overall, for it being like one of the biggest multiplayer Star Wars games that we had at the time in a while, it did the job it needed to do. Now, Season Pass was a bit crazy with the price. You needed that Season Pass for you to really enjoy the game, especially online. The lightsaber combat in this game was awful. I went back and played it, and it was just, it's awful. The rolling mechanics was so weird, it just feels wonky, and overall there's just not a lot in the base game. So I'm gonna put it in B tier for now. Might move it up to bottom of A tier, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, the Clone Wars DS game. Now, I don't really have a lot of the DS versions of the games on here because I've played a couple different versions of like DS games that are on this list, but LEGO Clone Wars 3 is the one I specifically chose to do a DS version because I remember it being a little bit different, and I enjoyed the experience significantly less. I don't know, I don't remember what it was about that game, but I do remember playing it, and it just felt different. I remember there were different things about that in the actual console version of the game, and it felt like a watered down version, and obviously it's going to be because it's a DS, so it makes sense. Clone Wars is still S tier, just the DS version, it's a little subpar compared to the console version. Now, Clone Wars Republic Heroes. I do believe that this is actually the lowest rated Star Wars video game that's ever been published, and I agree. It feels terrible. Half the mechanics don't work. The story just wasn't memorable at all. Neither was the gameplay. It's very skippable if you ask me. Star Wars Squadrons. Now, in theory, I believe that this is a good game. In theory. But it feels like it's built for people who are such sweaty gamers to just spend all day trying to master the controls, and then once you do, you just dominate the entire game because nobody else figured out the controls. The story was terrible. I hated the controls. The online multiplayer just was lacking. It didn't feel very interesting. It was like 5v5. I don't know. If I want to play Starfighter gameplay, I would just play Battlefront 2 Starfighter Assault. And although this is better mechanics in theory, it's so much harder to use, and I would just prefer the simple controls of Star Wars Battlefront, to be fair. Overall, Squadrons isn't terrible, but really, I would just prefer so many other things above it. Now, we have the 2 Angry Birds Star Wars games, and I know one of these is not great, and one of these is great. I do not remember. I remember playing both of these games all the way through on my iPad as a kid, and I loved one of them, and I hated the other one. I think the one I liked was this version, because this one had so many levels. I think one of them had like prequel trilogy stuff in it. There was like a Qui-Gon part, and then there was a Zam Wessel part. I don't know. I vaguely remember this game, but I remember having so much fun with it. I'm going to put this here because it's Angry Birds. And this one, I remember not really liking, where it was like on the Death Star and whatever. I don't know if this is the right icons for those games, but I think you know what I'm talking about if you've played these games. I'm going to put this here. They're both Angry Bird games, but it just feels like one of them was so much better than the other. I don't know why that it was or what, but that's just my memory of it. Star Wars Battle Pod is a great game. It's an arcade game, which is interesting. This is the only arcade game I'm putting on this list, but there's good reason for it. It's like a VR experience. It's so cool. I've played this game so much at like your local arcade or whatever. There was a time when it first came out and I played it for the first time. I played it over and over and over again until I got the #1 high score for the whole game on that machine. That was years ago, so I probably was beaten by now. But I just loved this game so much. I loved like the experience and the sound and the seats and everything, and the controls was just great. I think my biggest complaint with it is that it was on rails way too much, which completely makes sense with the type of game that it was trying to be. I would put it S tier if it wasn't as much on rails as it was, but it was very much on rails. Now, I might get a lot of heat for this one, but Galaxy of Heroes it's difficult for me because it is one of those scammy mobile games, and I know so many people don't like those, and I agree, scammy mobile games are bad, but I don't know what it was about this, but I just kind of like how it was casual it felt at times, and then once you tried to get competitive, it was really competitive. Once you like made that jump, I have made a lot of progress in this game. I'll be showing you my collection on screen right now. I've been playing this for pretty much since the game come out, on and off. I've had a lot of phases where I just love this game and phases where I can't play it at all because I just feel like it's too much. And I haven't played it in a while. So right now I'm not in that phase, but it could come back, honestly, because I know this game can get really addicting with collecting all of these characters. And I just love the collecting aspect of Star Wars. I didn't know if you could tell by my studio, I love collecting things. And this feels like you're collecting action figures, but actually be able to use it in a video game, which I know is a weird way of saying it because you can't really, but that's just kind of what it feels like when the collecting process. I have a money spending habit, I know. All right, Lego Force Awakens. This is definitely the weakest Lego game. I'm honestly probably going to put this like down here. It's either going to be above, maybe right there. I don't know. Lego Force Awakens just didn't do it for me. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna put it down here. Lego Force Awakens, just the missions were terrible. It's all like sequel trilogy stuff, so it's not really interesting except there's a couple collectibles. The DLC is good, but the missions are just terrible to play through. They're awful. I hate The Force Awakens as a movie, and the game was not much better. I would not mind if I never played it again. Now we have the complete saga. I mean, you gotta put it S tier, it's the complete saga. I don't think I need to explain that one. Now, we have LEGO Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. I am fairly confident I've played this, and if not, it's pretty much the same thing that's in the complete saga, but I don't remember if I've played it or not, so I'm not gonna technically rank this. I've played the complete saga multiple times, so I know what's in the game. I've seen a lot of other people play it. I just can't recall if I've actually played it myself, or if it was just the complete saga, so I'm not gonna rank it, but if I was to rank just LEGO Star Wars 2, probably would put it here, if I was to rank it on its own, but I'm not going to rank it. Same thing with LEGO Star Wars 1, the video game. I'm pretty sure I've played this. I know I've seen so many other people play this, and I've played the complete saga so many times, but I don't know if I've actually technically played it on its own myself, so again, I'm not going to rank it, but if I was to rank it, I would put it at the same spot of LEGO Star Wars 2. Now this is LEGO Star Wars Battles. Again, technically I've not played this game. I've seen so many people play it before though, and I've played Clash Royale a bit, so I know what this game is. I know how it works and everything. I've just never downloaded it myself. So I'm not going to technically rank it, but if I was to rank it, I would probably put it right with the other mobile game, right there. That's probably a fair spot, maybe even above it. I'm not sure. Probably somewhere either bottom of B or high C, somewhere in there. But I'm not going to rank it. Republic Commando. I had a huge phase like a year ago or so where I just played Republic Commando all the way through and I loved it. Made 2 videos on it, which are still up on the channel. I made a review and a sequel video about it. I would absolutely love this game. I still do. Just not as much as I did after I played the game for the first time. I love the story and the interaction you get with the AI. I think it's great. The only thing I really want more of is like modern mechanics and more missions with a bigger story. That would be great. I am so in love with the idea that Republic Commando could potentially get a sequel in the future. If someone is out there, please make a Republic Commando sequel happen. We have the OG Battlefront 2. It's the OG Battlefront 2, what can you say? I don't really think I need to explain this. Now, The Force Unleashed 2. I have this game, and I'm 100% certain I've played this before. But it's been too long, and I genuinely don't really remember what happens. I remember the ending, but that's kind of it. I've seen some of the cutscenes. Like, I genuinely know I've played the game, and I remember so much about the story, but at the same time, I don't remember much about the game, and I don't feel like I can fairly rank it against some of these other games. I'm considering putting the 3DS version of LEGO Star Wars 3 in can't rank, because I don't remember too much about it. I just remember it not being as good as the console version, but I might get back to you on that. Disney Infinity? Yeah, that's probably an S tier game. If you've played Disney Infinity, you know. The Toys to Life kind of brought it down, so maybe here, but like, the Toys to Life still I thought was cool. It just was really expensive to play. I loved messing around and creating my own worlds with multiple characters. I thought the gameplay was just so fun and fluid. It was just great. I honestly really enjoyed it. Star Wars The Old Republic is an interesting one. This is not like the original KOTOR. This is the Old Republic game. And I have played it for like 2 hours before, and I just didn't like it. And it's not because it was this game in particular. I just don't like these styles of games in general. I just think they're not fun. I don't like it. And I know so many people are going to say, but you got to like listen to the story and whatever. You got to get through it. Yeah, I don't care to get through the story because I just don't like the style of game that it is. MMORPGs are not for me. I've heard so many stories about the story of Old Republic stuff, and it all sounds so great. I'm not knocking any of that by putting this in E tier. Just the gameplay itself is not fun for me. I didn't like the game. I love hearing the lore aspects of this era of Star Wars, just playing it myself is just not fun for me. All right, we have the original Battlefront. Now, the original Battlefront is where it started the whole Battlefront franchise off. It's a classic, but I don't think it's better than Battlefront 2. I think both Battlefront 2s are better than both Battlefront games. And the 2015 Battlefront was just so wonky in some areas, and we had such a lackluster amount of content in the game. I feel like Battlefront just beats it out when it comes to actual content. I think the only thing Battlefront has above the original Battlefront is the graphics. The graphics were on point, but like besides that, probably the original Battlefront takes the cake. And we have Star Wars Battlefront 2. This is the game that got me into doing YouTube. And I know so many of you see me as a LEGO Star Wars YouTuber, but before LEGO Star Wars, I was Battlefront. I did Battlefront for years. I loved that game. I have 700 hours played in the game at least. Maybe 1,000, I don't remember. I have at least 700 hours in the game. I've played with so many mods. Absolutely just love the game. I think everything about it is great. It had a controversial launch, but it's one of the biggest comebacks in gaming history, and I don't think there's anything I would want more than a Battlefront 3 right now. I don't even know if Battlefront 2 can be topped. Now we have The Force Unleashed. The Force Unleashed is a great game. I'm going to do something kind of controversial here. I'm going to put The Force Unleashed above Battlefront 2, the original. I think The Force Unleashed has such fun gameplay mechanics, and I've played this recently with the story is just so fun. I love the idea and imagination that the people behind it had. It brought Sam Witwer to Star Wars, and I absolutely love Sam Witwer. He's one of my favorite actors or voice actors or whatever. Starkiller is such an interesting character, and he's so OP. I just love the game. I think it's great. I played it so much as a kid, and I still feel like a kid when I play it, because it's just that fun. All right, now we have Star Wars Hunters, which might be concerning for some of you because it's not even out yet technically. It has had a soft launch for a long time. If you just use a VPN, you can play it. Bro, this game looks like it sucks. I gotta be honest. I am not very interested in Star Wars Hunters. I was covering it for a while on the channel, and when we saw more gameplay, I was so disappointed, and nobody was interested, so I just stopped because I wasn't interested either. I have not technically played it, so I'm not going to rank it. But if I was to rank it, it would be top of E tier. I don't think this game looks fun at all. I don't see the appeal for it. It looks very cartoony. It looks like Fortnite, but like dumbed down. That's what it looks like. How do you dumb down Fortnite? I don't know, but that looks like what they did. But I'm not going to rank it. Oh my god, we have the Vader Immortal games. Okay, let's put this in order. So first is 1, 2, 3. This is Vader Immortal 1. I'm probably gonna have to put it like right here at least. Yeah, I think that's probably a fair spot. Vader Immortal 1 is probably the weakest of the three, because it's a lot of setup and you only get to use a blaster. It's still very fun. It's great setup to the story. But yeah, you only use a blaster. It's set up, so we'll put an A tier there. Episode 2, that's where you get trained by Vader, and that's when you get the Force, so you can use the Force on stuff, and it looks great. The boss battles are so fun. The story is evolved tenfold. It's a great story. This has to go S tier. I'm probably going to put it there. And then Vader Immortal Episode 3, you get a lightsaber, you fight Darth Vader, you get the conclusion that leads you to the Rise of Skywalker and what Mustafar looks like in that movie. This game is just, I love it. It's my favorite VR game probably I've played. And if you have a VR, you got to play Vader Immortal. This is like 100% the game to play. I know there's a Galaxy's Edge VR game, and I've not really seen too much of it, and I've not played it before. So I'm not even going to put it in the can't rank category because I've not seen too much about it at all. I know there's blasters, and that's pretty much it. Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah, we needed a game like Fallen Order, and it does not disappoint. Fallen Order is one of those games that, like, you just gotta play. It appeals to so many people. Everything it does, it executes so well. You really care about the whole Mantis crew by the end of the story. And I'm so excited for Jedi Survivor. I'm going to be covering that extensively on the channel because I'm just so excited for this game. Fallen Order has some great setup, great villains, great execution, great graphics, great acting. Everything about this was great. And I think the only thing that stops this from being the best Star Wars game is the fact that it's a single-player game and not multiplayer. If this was a multiplayer game and they added more mechanics like blaster combat and more stuff like that, this would easily be the best game on this list. But I'm not going to put it as the best just yet. Now we have LEGO Star Wars Castaways. Now, this is a game I technically have not played myself, so I won't really rank it, but it looks kind of fun. It looks very similar to the Yoda Chronicles game. That's what it reminded me of anyways. I'm not going to rank it, but if I was, I probably would put it above there, below Fortnite, but I'm not going to rank it. Seems interesting. I don't know. I don't really have plans to play it. So we have Knights of the Old Republic now. I've played only a little bit of it. I have played it, but like for 20 minutes because I just didn't like it. And I know I've only played 20 minutes of it, and I've heard so many good things about the lore of this game and how revolutionary it was for Star Wars games and just gaming in general. So I think to put it right down here with the Old Republic is probably not fair because I've not played it enough. That's probably where I would put it if I was to rank it, but I don't think it's fair for me to rank it because I only played it for like 20 minutes. So I'm not going to rank it. Episode 3, the video game Revenge of the Sith, I've also not technically played, but I've seen so many hours of people playing this game and it looks so fun. If I had to rank it, I would probably put it like here. It looks like so much fun. I absolutely just would love to play this game. I just never got the chance to as a kid. I didn't have any of the consoles that this was on when it came out, so I never got the chance to play it. But from what I've seen, it looks like so much fun. But again, I can't rank it because I have not played it myself. Clone Wars Live Fire. You might have never seen this game before. And honestly, if you haven't, I don't blame you. This is a Flash game. I used to play at school all the time, and for a Flash game, I thought this was pretty fun. You would progress through levels and get more gear, and you could customize your clone, and you just go around shooting battle droids, and Rex was in your ear telling you what to do. It was a cool game. It's a Flash game, so it's not anything fancy, but like for what it was, I thought it was really fun. Honestly, I would probably put it like there, maybe above Bounty Hunter. Probably around there would be fair for me. Personally, I just thought it was so fun, and I don't even know if it still works because Flash obviously has been disabled, I'm pretty sure. But I just had a lot of fun playing it as a kid, and I remember still exactly what that game and those level layouts were like, and I've just played it that much to the point where I just really liked it. Now we have Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Episode 1 Racer I've not actually technically played either, so I won't be ranking it. But I've also seen a lot of people play it. It looks like a decent game, like it's like a racing Star Wars game, right? So it looks like fun. If I was to rank it, I probably would put it there at the end of C tier. It looks like fun. I don't know. Not really anything special. Older graphics doesn't help it either. I don't know. It seems fine, but I've not technically played it myself, so I will not be ranking it. Now we have LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Where do I think this stacks up against all of the other Star Wars games? And if you're a viewer of the channel, you'll know this is S tier. And if you've seen my last ranking video, you'll know that this is my favorite LEGO game. Now, that being said, I don't think I can place it above Fallen Order, and it's definitely not Battlefront 2. I grew up not playing LEGO games. The only LEGO game I really grew up playing was the Complete Saga and the Clone Wars, and those games are great. And the Skywalker Saga is too. I just do not have that attachment to the LEGO game style, and I actually like the Skywalker Saga style of game the best out of any LEGO game because the levels are short. I don't have to spend time doing like 20 minutes of puzzles. I like the exploration and free roam. The wait was worth it in my opinion. I know many people disagree with me on that, but I have so much fun with this game. But Fallen Order just beats it. It's a better game. It's great. But that's not to knock the Skywalker Saga because it's still number 3 on this list. I absolutely love this game. But that is all of the Star Wars games that I've played or experienced in my life ranked onto a tier list. If you disagree, which I know many of you will, please let me know what you disagree about in the comment section down below. And do not get butthurt. This is just my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.